The impact of the bushfires on individuals.
We're always going to have disasters, we're always going to have stress in our life, but how do we manage and cope with that to be able to live fully in our lives with all the disasters happening?
During the day, you will hear about ways to manage stress and anxiety, listen to the experience of a rural fire service officer, learn where to get financial help if needed, get to know people who are available to talk through any issues you may have, and how to prepare emotionally for a possible disaster.
Ultimately, it's about connections, it's about being able to talk to people, it's about people listening to us and validating. We can't change things, but we can manage them better if we're able to talk about things.
There's no substitute for community engagement and community awareness, and certainly being face-to-face with people and hearing the boots-on-the-ground stories of all the good work that people are doing in supporting people in the region is invaluable.
If you do have the opportunity to talk to someone about things that might still be sitting with you, and for some people they don't even realise it's still sitting with them, it might be triggered by something that was least expected.
As I said in my talk, I came up to fires up here on a deployment and I didn't see the actual devastation happen, but I could hear it. How do you prepare for that? And that was like 3 k's away. You shouldn't need courage to speak up. It should be just as easy as, can I get a cappuccino, thanks?
That roof's light.
The colour is beautiful. It is.
Well, that tree's a light.
I just think Bendemeer's the best kept secret. My husband and I have lived in lots of different places and we just love driving up the Moonbees and you hit a certain spot and you can feel the temperature drop and you think, oh, we're nearly home. I think I've met the most genuine people here in Bendemeer. Intelligent, supportive, witty. It's very therapeutic, it's very healing, and it's just a fabulous place.
The Bendemeer Hotel was first established by Mr. Glover in 1864. It's a very, very sentimental and special hub for this little Bendemeer community. The support that my husband and I have had from the community as well, that they were very conscientious that we were trying to keep the locals employed and they were supporting us the whole time through the pandemic. So it's been a credit to the local people. Mark and I, my husband, are extremely grateful to them. I'm very proud to be part of Bendemeer because it is a beautiful and precious little community.
In the workshop today, we had a couple of different speakers from different organisations. I learnt some new networking skills through them. One activity was painting a jigsaw, sort of got us back down to our childhood days, getting back using paints or textures, and just reflecting on what's happened over the last few years during these difficult times.
My name's Kate and I work for the RAMP program. I've just spoken today about all of the different things that people are dealing with and to acknowledge that it's been a really difficult time. We came through drought, we then went into a pandemic which is still ongoing. We've dealt with bushfires, we've dealt with mouse plagues, and now we're dealing with overseas war. So people are generally quite overloaded. It's really normal to be tired, to feel uncertainty, to feel fear, to feel anger, a whole range of emotions.
People do find it hard to get up each day and get started and to keep going. It's just too overwhelming. Human beings, we're really relational and we need each other all of the time, and to make those connections and to get along and to help each other and to lift each other up is really who we are as people, and we really need each other to do life and to do it well.
And adjust to a new normal and continue to...
For a period afterwards, we could still see, the fires on the hills. And the most distressing thing was that there was water bombing. The pilots that were doing the water bombing were pilots that had come from America, and they later died. So I found that very distressing that they had travelled over to Australia and they were obviously saving properties in this area, and then later to lose their own lives. So that grief for them and their families has stayed with me. I suppose just on reflection, I think it's 28 months since the fires in Bendemeer, and that was on a background of drought. And then we had COVID. My mother, who was 90 at the time, was living in Canberra independently and had a fall, and subsequent to that was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, and she clearly couldn't live by herself, so she came up here to live with us. But the impact of COVID on her was just so confusing because she couldn't understand why she couldn't come with me when I did the shopping, or why we couldn't go out, and why she had to wear a mask and her hearing aid and her glasses. So it was a very confusing time for my mother. I think it's raised a lot of issues for a lot of us about how as a society we care for old people.
Tingha is really the gem of the New England. Such a unique, beautiful place. It's just a great little town. You can pick up a gemstone, a sapphire, or whatever, here or there. I'm the president of the Building the Tingha Community Spirit Group. The idea came from just all of the bushfires, how people felt so low and in despair. Some of the issues that Indigenous people faced is that we didn't feel welcome in some places of assistance, and that just stopped a lot of Indigenous people from asking for help, from going for that help as well. Today was really great. It's great to know that these services are here and that there are people that do care and that are really offered assistance to us. And if we run together as a collective, I believe more things will happen for Tingha as well.
Someone has done different stages that we may go through. So there is that phase of dissolution.
I'd like to give thanks to the services that came out today. Being sixth generation from Tingha and coming home, it feels like Tingha's been forgotten because the people of the town are very resilient. I see the treasure and what the potential could be in each person in Tingha. I just get the feeling if I uplift them, then my community will be a better place for me to put my feet up at the end of my life. It wasn't just the fires, it was after that too. There was the drought, and then we had the big floods. And then in that time, there was COVID, so that isolated everybody from reaching out also.
We walk the process of recovery back into prosperity as a community.
When disaster hits and that gets fractured, it's quite a challenge to step into that and encourage people to rebuild it. And that's what days like this, today's Regrowth workshop, are about, is to encourage people in the community to come together and to give a bit of basic education about what services are out there and how they can access them to rebuild their community.
It's a great day just to sort of have some time out, to be able to interact with each other as well as the service providers. There's a lot of really valuable knowledge here that people can source, and a lot of great resources that they can source, and just to be together.
I'm a group officer for the Northern Tablelands. Tingha is one of my brigades under my banner. As such, I've got 6 brigades underneath me, and I was IC on the ground out here that day that the fire came into Tingha. I think today is great in the healing process. As they talked about in there, it may not happen straight away. There's a lot of emotions going through that are raw straight after the fire. So being able to have an event like this a period of time after, I think is great, because it relaxes the people. They sort of can understand their emotions that they've gone through, and hopefully be able to come out the other side a lot stronger.
It would have been great to have this rain a few years back. I've certainly lived through that drought as a sheep and cattle farmer down near Tamworth. I've come up here to Tenterfield today to talk about how important it is to tell your story, the power of storytelling, how important it is to reach out for some help.
This workshop that I've just done, probably opened my eyes up a little bit. It was a little bit raw, but I've come out of it today going, wow, there's so many things I didn't think about, or you did think at the time, or it's made me a better person, I think, of what I've gone through. 7 months of fires virtually in our LGA. The biggest thing now is we're going into these communities. The regrowth and that connection that they need in their communities it's vital more than anything now.
Who suffered during the fires of 2019?
Prior to the bushfires, there was droughts, and then there was flooding also, and of course with COVID-19, so it's been disaster after disaster. It's quite easy for bushfires to be put on the back burner with all that's been going on, but the effect that it had on the communities back then and even now is real. There are these great community resilience and recovery building workshops to upskill service providers, but also to upskill community leaders so that the communities can rebuild and become stronger.
Rosie knows. Now that mental health is on the table, let's really look at it honestly and upfront.